Oh. It was, I don't even remember. Oh, it was hilarious. All the guys decided they were gonna have a spoonful of it. And the look on their faces and it just went red from one cup. That was, oh. Oh, yeah, yeah. I don't even remember. Oh, it was hilarious. All the guys decided they were gonna have a spoonful of it. And the look on their faces and it just went red from one cup. 17.
Yeah.
That was, oh, yeah, yeah. I don't even remember. Oh, it was hilarious.
My sister
The look on their faces and it just went red. 17.
Yeah.
That was, oh, yeah, yeah. I don't even remember. Oh, it was hilarious.
My sister
The look on their faces and it just went red. 17.
Yeah.
That was, oh, yeah, yeah. I don't even remember. Oh, it was hilarious.
My sister
The look on their faces and it just went red. 17.
Yeah.
Change their setup a little bit for the last one. Oh, just let them know you changed their setup a little bit. Change their setup a little bit for the last one. Oh, just let them know you changed their setup a little bit.
Nobody wants to sit on the camera.
Okay, you're coming out very Oh yeah, you can switch sides. Yeah, okay, you're coming out very Oh yeah, you can switch sides. Yeah, yeah. Okay, settings.
Stop right away.
Okay, that should be set. I'll make sure it's visual looks all right. Alright. Let's see if the audio's coming out. Any better with the audio now, or
Oh, yeah, it's like really
you can hear everything? Okay, cool. I guess we can get started. Oh, well, thanks everyone for coming back out. Second class. So we'll be building off of what we did on Monday and going a little bit more into the languages. Monday was more of a just background, getting ready for this, and this class will be getting us ready for next Wednesday when we get into the more immersion style of teaching, where I'll be just staying in the language there, and I'll be explaining it afterwards as we get to that. But so this is more, just more preparation there to, I guess, your foundational language there as we go forward there. So what I have started in here, for those that are online, I emailed the papers. If you're not on the mailing list, contact us and we'll add you to the list. That's what we're working with. So we're on page 1, and we're going to be going over the 7 persons in Ojibwe there first. So Ojibwe has 7 personal pronouns. That's the I, you, him or her, kind of stuff. So the first one is Neen. That's I or me. Geen, that's you. Some will pronounce that with a K, like Keen. Usually, often the more northern ones have a harder K instead of a G sound. They have it written as Geen. Ween, which is she or he or him or her. There's Nina Wind, we exclusive. Gina Wind, we inclusive. I'll explain that in a second. Gina Wa is you all, or the plural for you. We know Wa is them or they. So I guess a brief explanation of inclusive and exclusive. I put in an example sentence in how did I put that? But yeah, for the exclusive, it's simply when you're when I'm say if I'm talking to you and I'm part of a group there, when I'm saying that say we did something last night and I'm telling you about what we did last night, I'm not having it as an inclusive way that we all did it. I'm telling you that myself and someone else or some others did something. That's when I'd use the we exclusive when talking to someone else, and then the inclusive is if I'm talking to you, you're included in that we, and I say that we did this or we want to do this, or we will do this. So it's a lot of little nuance in the language there, the differences between inclusive and exclusive. I put in the example sentence there for the we exclusive. Say if you asked me what you did last night, I'd say that we ran away from the stinky three-legged bear there, and you weren't there running away from it with us last night. It was just me and whoever else there. Whereas then I also explain that if I'm talking to you and I say something like, "We're pretty damn ugly," hey? And I could have included you in that sentence if I put in the right one there, though you might not appreciate being included in a sentence like that. Yeah. So that's some of the differences between exclusive and inclusive. I also put in the linguist definition in that first person plural inclusive includes the person or person's address, so carries a meaning something like English. We, you, and I, and perhaps others. First person plural exclusive excludes the person or person's address and conveys the meaning. We, that is I and others, but not you. That's Rand Valentine's linguistic explanation there. If those are more into, you're more into the heavier academic style of it there. So yeah, those are the 7 persons. Main ones that we'll be focusing on for now are the first 3, me, Dean, I, you, and him or her style. So I put in a few samples in here to start getting used to that, and kind of jumping into it a little fast here, but we're going to go over it, and then as time goes on, we'll practice with it more, and this chart here will make more sense further on down the road. So I mentioned on Monday differences between Eastern and Western dialects, so I started putting in the different Eastern and Western styles within the examples here to give more of an idea of some of those differences there. It's kind of an arbitrary line between the Eastern and Western, like there's quite a few extra dialects and nuances between it's kind of oversimplifying the dialect definition by saying East and West, as even within the Eastern boundaries and Western boundaries. And, part of it are imaginary boundaries as well there, but basically this is based on the Western Dictionary from Minnesota, and this is the Eastern stuff's based on the Eastern dictionaries there. So basically it's going off of dictionaries I've recorded, so on. So based on this chart, we're going into VAI verbs, the animate intransitive verbs that we briefly looked over on Monday. It just starts to show how to start working with the personal pronouns and the persons. So I didn't put the translations on there. I don't know if you have pens or not. You could write them as you go, or on the next page. There's some. Actually, some of them don't have the definition. So if you want to take note of it, there you'll be coming across these words though as we go on again. Ija is to go someplace or to go, or the action of going. And when you say Indija is I'm going, I could add something if I'm specifying it there. Kinomage Wagamagong Indija, I'm going to school. I'll show you how to do that stuff later there. But right now, just I guess examples of Indija just means I'm going someplace or somewhere. So that IN at the front, that's the I indicator. And again, going to the second person chart, Gidija is you're going somewhere. Ija is he or she is going somewhere. So jump to the eastern one there, so you can see some of the differences that's going on here. As you can see, the initial I is dropped from the Ija that's seen in the western one, and it's just Ja in the eastern one. Eastern dialects are often known as vowel droppers, using common terms there. Technical terms are syncopation, where they delete a short vowel that's not stressed there. So those kind of little things at the front often won't be in the eastern one. So even the little mean indicator is just a hint of it, almost like a Indija. Sometimes you could barely hear it, almost like just a small nasalized Indija as I'm going. Indija for he or she is going, and Ja for he or she. Bape, that's he or she laughs. So Nimbop is I'm laughing. Give Bob, you are laughing. Bape is he or she is laughing. But again, like not too many differences between the east and west one. It's more like you'll notice some of the short vowels that are not in there, like bop and bop and bop. Mawe, that's he or she is crying. So in the mao is I am crying. Gimao, you are crying. Mawe, he or she is crying. If I'm ever going too fast, just let me know and it won't always be like this. I'm just starting to introduce you to some of the sounds and actions of hearing language. I don't want to do too much of the old style of teaching languages there. We're just slowly going through this for now. So, ayekoze is he or she is tired. So, indayekos is I am tired. Gidayekos, you are tired. Ayekoze is he or she is tired. You can see a little bit more on the eastern one, some of the difference there with some of those short vowels missing there, like ayekoze for longer and yekoze for eastern, missing vowels there. So like the echoes, yekoze. Some of those differences there. Akoze, the next one it sounds similar at first there to yekoze, but akoze is he or she is sick. So when dakos is I am sick, gedakos, you are sick, and akoze, she or he is sick. And they're all the same on the eastern ones as well. So I'll briefly go over on page 2 there. I mentioned there's some differences that you might have noticed especially within the Western chart there of some of the some of the first person notes in there, like for might be IN or NI or NIM. Often they all mean the same thing. They're all the mean. They're all I. And changing them doesn't. If you write IN or NI or NIN, it doesn't change the meaning at all. It's just often it comes down to dialect difference or teacher preference as to which way that you write it. So as we move on there, if you come across other resources, you'll notice that it's usually a little different depending on which book you're going through. So it's always the same thing, and it doesn't really mean that it changes too much from what's going on in there. So like I put a few examples in there, like Indija, Idija, Nindija, Idija. They're all valid, good ways to spell it there. It all comes down to user preference there. We'll get into this further on the road, but I'd like to point it out while we're on it now. There's like you might notice that there's an IND before the Ija, and like it might not make sense where the D came from between the Neen and Ija, as there's no D in between from Neen or Ija. Words that have a short vowel on the front, usually a D kind of connects them there, like Indija, Gidija, and I just wanted to point that out now, but we'll get into that further on once we start working a little more. Same thing with I put down the Nimbop. You see an M in there. In some places, when there's a B word, sometimes they'll put an M sound to connect to the B sound a little more smoothly. So you could say Nibop or Inbop or Nibop, but some also put an M sound as a more smooth connector to like Nimbop. They're all good ways to do it there as well. All comes down further on down the road there. It comes down to your own preference or speakers or teachers you work with. So that's some of the things to point out for now, and then don't worry if it doesn't stick for now. There, it's all quite a bit for now there. So. I'm going to come back to the rest of page 2 in a bit there. I'm going to go right to page 4 there with the foundational language there. So I guess I'll introduce you to some of the really basic everyday language there, stuff that you hear on a daily basis there. I guess the small key phrases to start using conversational language there. So for now, these are good to practice with. If you have people that you're able to practice with there, it's helpful as well there. To have little practice dialogues. Further on, as we progress there, I'll come up with little practice dialogues that we could practice as groups or when you're at home kind of thing as well. So the first one I have in here is Bonjour, Anin, Ani. I guess a brief explanation behind that. Some people believe that bonjour comes from the French word bonjour there, so it's a little similar there, but the main stories or explanations I hear from most of the language speakers is that it's in reference to the old or traditional character Nana Bonjour or Wayna Bonjour, depending where you're from, pronouncing his name there. And when you say Bonjour, you're just paying respect to that figure and acknowledging that Anishinaabe kind of idea. Anin is another common way to say hello. I guess a small note on Anin there is not everyone understands it as hello. It's common east of here. Most people understand it now there because everyone's communicating more, but a lot of people still understand Anin as like a how or what or one speaker from northwestern Ontario would say that when people would say Anin to him, he understood it as what's the matter with you there? And he's like, so people would be saying hello and he's like, what did I do? I said, do I look sick there? What's the matter with me? Then he found out later they were just all saying hello to him. So, yeah, you could use either one there, Bojo, Anin, Ani, just ways to say hello there. I put in two ways to say how are you kind of idea. Ani Neje Yayan. It's more common in the west, but you could use it in the east as well there, though it'd be a little shortened. It just means like how are you kind of idea. How's your being kind of thing there. And then I put in the common one that you'll hear in the east is just a really shortened Anishna. It's just kind of I think some describe it kind of as a slang because it's almost just like how with the question emphasized, but everyone understands it as how are you, Anishna. And,
How would you say that? First phrase again?
yeah, Anin Eje Yayan. Anin Eje Yayan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. As we go in further, it'll become easier there, but I just wanted to expose you a little bit of both there. But Anishna is a perfectly valid one. They're all cool to use there.
So that would be like a conversation. How are you? And good.
Yeah, like if you're just running into someone down like downtown, or you say Anishna there, and they know that you're asking, "How are you?" And next answers you could give are like common one for Anishna is just "Oh, Anishin, I'm doing good there." And then if you guys are both busy, just keep going on your own ways, kind of idea, or it transitions to the next part of the conversation. Nishin's the easy one there, but there's other feelings that you can express too, like I'm Gashkenda, I'm sad there. Then the other person might run away because they don't want to hear all the tragic stories. If you're in a bit of a hurry there. So yeah, so the Aninaje Yayan common response is Namino Ya, is I'm good. Like Ya is kind of like your state of being or how you are kind of thing. And Mino is just like referring to something good there. Mino, that's a common word or root that you'll be seeing on Ojibwe there. And we'll be seeing quite a bit more there, but here's an initial exposure to Mino. So on the Mino, I'm good. And the common one, as I mentioned, for Anishna is often Nishin. Often it's just like good Nishin. I don't know if it's shortened from Onijishin, but Onijishin's another response you could give as well there, which is I'm doing good as well. More common to hear in the Western one, Onijishin. Some understand it as beautiful as well there, so if you're feeling good, feeling beautiful too, you can say Onijishin. I'll write that in. Common one. Next one I put in is for Wama Pigigawabamin. Means I will see you. Literally means I will see you later. A lot of fluent speakers and teachers will emphasize that there's no way to say goodbye in the language there, so it's always referencing the next time there. So Some will just shorten it to Bama P because it's understood that you're saying that you'll be seeing them later or talking with them later. So some keep it short right to Bama P. And yeah, it's just Bama means later, and P is just referring to a time kind of thing. So when you say Bama P, it's just understood as later. See them later. If you want to add the full way, Bama P Gigawabamin is Gigawabamin is I will see you using. Well, we went over VTA verbs. That's what's going on there. It's the ITU VTA there, but that's just to give a quick heads up on that. So we won't be worrying too much about what's really going on there until later on. But that's what's going on. When you hear Bama P, you go on and the Bama P is what's referring to later. The P is referring to like the time, and Gigawabamin is like I will definitely see you kind of thing. And then the one on the bottom is how like I put it how you might hear it in the east kind of thing if you're talking to someone from the island there and have more of a Bama Peak Wabamin kind of sound there. Some will pronounce like the Giga, usually more in the west if you do hear it like that. Often it'll be a little more shortened like Bama Peak Wabamin. That's what. So I'm trying to give a bit of an idea of how like the different sounds that you could expect to hear if you interact with speakers and that. So next word is or yeah. That's yes in Ojibwe. I think mostly in the east you'll mostly hear or that's the nasal sound coming in there in full use. On the I noticed that mostly in the northwestern Ontario, Minnesota region there. But I think most people understand what's going on there when they hear it. In certain places in Minnesota, according to the Pimsleur recordings, in those ones they say that within those communities that they recorded from, that men would say and that women would use the but in other communities, men and women would use and in other communities, men and women would use it all comes down to community preference, I guess. If you're talking with someone, they'll explain to you which one they use if you ask or you're curious. But you could use either one kind of thing. One of the things that I'm going to look into is once I start working more closely with other speakers around this area is whether they use or a. So it's all kind of like a little mystery for me to solve too as we go on there, and then I'll be reporting back as I find those kind of things out there.
Is that like standardized yes with other native languages?
Oh, what's that? The or a?
Yeah. Because I've heard that in quite a few movies, different tribes and stuff, and they have conversations where it's subtitled, and they use that.
Okay, I'm not too sure. I'd have to look into that, but I think they all have slightly different ways to, different ways to say the words. Oh yeah. Next one is Gaween. No. Some often shorten it to just Ka sometimes as well. Or if you're connecting things, sometimes it's saying the full Gaween, you might just put Ga, and it'll connect to with what you're trying to say as well. But there'll be examples of that coming up. I don't have it in here, but it'll be coming up eventually. Is like Gaween Mashik is like not yet. You could shorten it to Ga Mashik, and it's not yet. Same thing, just sometimes a little easier to pull off the tongue there in the middle of a rapid fire speech there that fluent speakers engage in there. Ga Mashik or Gaween Mashik. All depends on.
That's no, not yet.
It just means not yet. Even though it's the word for no, it wouldn't quite be like wouldn't explicitly be understood as no. It's just kind of when it's connected with something, it just kind of becomes known as like the negative marker for like mashe is yet, and when you say gawin mashe, rather than no not yet, it'd be understood as not yet kind of idea. Miigwech, that's probably one of the common ones that if you know one word in Ojibwe, it's probably Miigwech there, thank you, it's often understood as. One of the things I sometimes get asked is how do you say you're welcome, and from my understanding, there isn't really a way to say you're welcome, so there's these words here, a how or nahow or a ho, where you're just kind of acknowledging when someone says thank you, and you just kind of, oh, nahow, or how, you acknowledge it there, but it doesn't explicitly mean, oh, you're welcome kind of thing there, so that's what's going on with that, so just acknowledging when you say thank you. Daga, I'll understand it as please there if you want. Some of the things I've been told in like old style traditional language, they wouldn't put a lot of those kind of little like please and so on in there. Like some of that's kind of come with English contact. So sometimes you see please added in a little more often now that when learning the language there. Or, if you burp or fart, that if you excuse yourself, it's more of a newer thing there. From some people that I've been told, I don't want to assume there that if somebody farted, that they didn't always excuse themselves. Gawin on jida, some places that means sorry, or the idea of sorry, but it just literally means like I didn't do it on purpose kind of thing. So it's doesn't quite have the same kind of idea of the way that we understand sorry in English there. It's not a standardized term there. Like it's different in other places. I'm not sure how they'd say it everywhere else there, but so that's one I put in there. And then Minnow Gija got I mentioned Minnow earlier, and the Minnow Minnow comes back here from Minnow Gija got. It's a nice day there. You could wish someone you just say Minnow Gija got. If you're informing someone you think it's a good day, or you could end the conversation. Minnow Gija got. Gija got just means day. Day. And Minnow Gija got it's a nice day. And I put down on here, like, if you guys have any requests for things that you'd like to know, just start keeping track of them and writing them down, and then we can eventually, as time goes on, start working through them and share them amongst the group and that for things that sometimes things that I guess you think about like everyday kind of stuff that you might want to say, and if they keep coming up, I would start off with like simpler things for now there, and we could eventually try progressing the more complex stuff. But if you think of any small stuff there, start taking note of them there, and then we could work on them over the next few months there. So, I guess we could start working on I was hoping to get a whiteboard in here and I could actually start writing along with these there for the.
There's one.
Just the easel. I guess we could work on it. I guess we could work with that there.
Yeah, flip chart.
Oh yeah. Let's see. How's that come out on the video? Is it too low?
I'll have to wait a second.
Okay.
It's not there yet.
Or what on the when you click on the stream? What on the?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's pretty low. You can see the top.
Oh, that's here.
Oh, But, yeah, we'll give it a shot. I don't want to scratch it.
Two chairs?
Two chairs, my favorite.
Throw it up on the table now?
We could try it, but I might have to lay down on the table and write on it.
We
I
could
don't
try
see
it.
do they mind the tacks on the wall then if they have these? So they probably could just individually start
Tapping it up.
papers on the line.
You got a tax on the wall.
We could try a couple chairs.
I think it's dry. Take it off right now. Well, if anyone's wondering, I don't think it's showing up anymore, but if anyone saw the headhunter watch out thing, it's just preparations for a Halloween trail. We're not advocating headhunting. Okay, I think we're gonna put this on for now because I don't want it to dry on the wall. We just put that in the LED. It will be right there. They will eventually get the whiteboard in here, but it's gotta find. So,
Hang on. Hey, it lifts up, I guess. You put your foot on the base.
oh, it does,
Or
eh?
not. Yeah. All right, cool.
Okay.
Oh, okay, awesome. Yeah, she said you put your foot on the base. Yeah. She said it should be like tall as you.
Oh, this thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I see.
Who's watching? Who is watching?
Who is that?
Karen.
I'll be watching it.
There we go.
Does it show up in the video already, or?
Yes, it does.
You can see that too. Okay, cool. Okay, I guess we'll just jump right into it and start working with the VAIs there. So those are on pages 2 and 3 here. If it doesn't come up here on the camera, just start typing it into the chat there.
Okay. I wonder if there's
Okay. Okay, so we'll just start with the first one. So my words keep jumping ahead forward in my head here. So one of the things that happens with this is called the sort of the traditional approach, not in traditional culture, but in traditional language teaching, known as the classic method, or is the grammar instruction. It's often frowned upon, especially as of late there, and some teachers like to use it still, others have gone completely away from it. I'm trying to get, I guess, trying to do a little bit of both kind of things, like the popular approaches right now. So this is kind of most of us are adult learners there, so you don't have the advantage of learning a language as a child anymore, of just being thrown into an environment and hearing and picking up on it. So I think these kind of things are helpful to have, as well as going to try giving more opportunities to be able to hear and practice speaking as well, which is one of the major things that are lacking from this style of language teaching. So for now, we're still just introducing language there to start giving our idea of things to look for and keep your eyes open for. So that's what's going on. So, keep going through patterns, I guess. There. So, just the common pattern here is. Well, that's pretty much the pattern for the VAIs in the first person there. That just pretty much means like it's pretty much literally means I verb there. So we could go through some of these examples in here. So anyone want to give a shot on the first, any of the words on the page there? These words aren't conjugated at the moment. They want to give a shot conjugating.
Eastern or Western?
Oh, it doesn't matter your preference.
So Eastern?
Once more.
Eastern? Eastern?
Oh, almost. So the yeah. So at least right. So. Alright, so the Reese now, right? Reese. Yeah. Okay, so the word's written like that. This is what's going on here. When we're conjugating it into first person, this I comes off there. So otherwise, that's used for. We'll get to that afterwards there with this. So it'll just be like the Reese. Sometimes they're all easier to. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, kind of with the I kind of. I have to double check for the Eastern one whether the I becomes a little more explicit in there when you
Just drop the I?
Yeah. It's getting a little bit. Alright, let's try that again with the other one here.
There's a question.
Yeah, okay.
What's the difference between Niwisimi and Niwisim?
Noise in there and noise.
Yeah,
Oh, with the eye?
and listen. Yeah, with the
Okay.
eye and the eye.
Okay, yeah, I'll go into that. Here. I'll explain that better. Okay, so what's going on here is like going according to the patterns here. So this pretty much means and when you have the one and then it's just if there's an I at the end, that's just part of the third person or he or she or ween. That's what's going on with the. So when you're putting it into the first and second person, you don't include that I at the end there, as demonstrated here or there. But it stays on for the, or it comes back. I don't know if it, yeah, you don't have to worry about that one in the first person stuff there, so. Yeah, so that's the third one there when you have the I still in there. If that helped or clarified what was going on for them. And this is clear to everyone as well for now there, like, don't have to remember it, like if you forget it, for now there, like it's not a big deal, but eventually it should, become more natural thing to remember that, the I often doesn't stay on there.
Does need go have the active person for?
No, you don't have a marker for, remember, so for me is I,
Okay.
Ween is the he or she, but you don't really put it kind of just stays the way it is there, and like the way it's all written on there, as the he and she form. I then conjugate them into this like first or second person. So this just when you have the I in front, the reason is just how you eat. Reason is he or she eats. That's the main difference. And you wouldn't say no reason is, and just that little I gets deleted at the end there. So, anyone else want to try another one?
He works. I don't know.
How would you try putting it into the
Me, I'm okay. Saturday?
oh,
I
Saturday?
work Saturday?
Yeah, that's pretty close, yeah. So, main thing would be that since it has that vowel at the front there, you get that kind of a B sound in there. So then, what's it, the double I, right?
Yeah.
So it's that double I sound is the E kind of sound there. Like, yeah, when you see double E in English, it has that E sound. Double I in Ojibwe has that E sound as well. In dental P. Saturday. Which one? I can't remember Saturday offhand. There's a few different calendars there, so I always get. We'll be getting to that briefly within the next while there. Then I'll have them laid out there, like the different calendars and that.
So why did you put the D in front of it?
Just because it has a short vowel at the front there, and it just kind of connects it. The D kind of comes out of nowhere to connect the N and the A there, so the dental P. Same with can you guess which other one on here might have a D on there?
The one that starts with an I, is it? I don't want to try to pronounce it, or he or she does.
Oh, the Jitchigay, right? Yeah. It's trickier with the eastern one there because those short vowels are deleted there, but that D sound still kind of comes back there every now and then. Some speakers will put like I don't want to confuse too much there, but some will put like a do for like they might put like do key or dojitsugi. But some might just keep it at like a dojitsugi or key, deja. You notice any of the other ones that might use it? Great. And that's another one where you take off the short vowel at the end there, like similar with the I when it goes in the first person form. And begin das as I read or count. Begin das. So any guesses on just looking at this? If you were to try doing so if you were to try conjugating it as the gene or you, any guesses on how you would change any of this around to conjugate it? Close. I mean, it's the difference between here and main thing you're doing, like
I'm taking off the I.
yeah, so yeah, so Yui Sin would be Yui. Take the I and then Yui Sin Yui. This is an introduce since you're looking at. So sometimes it sounds awkward to say you there, so one of the things that you could do with that would be have you said it already? So one of the things, like, it might sound awkward when you tell someone that you eat, because there's a command form to tell someone to tell you to eat, which we'll get into shortly there. But so one of the things that you could do with this is that you put it into a question form. So the way that we do that in Ojibwe would be, you could do that would be. You wanna put the question on? So do we sin not? When you add that little not at the end, it makes it a question there. So that becomes
So not can be used
yeah. Sometimes you might have a little additional vowel, especially in the Western style, and does anyone feel like trying to make a question based on any of those?
Keep up to date now.
There you go. Yep. And that means
Are you hungry?
like. Okay, anyone else want to give it a shot there? So again, the pattern here is here, there. Oh, Gamin Wayne down. Yeah. Yeah, I'll practice with you quickly there. So Min, Wayne, Dum. Min, Wayne, Dum. Yeah.
No. Ye men when no. Ye men when no. Okay, you say it.
Gamin Wayne, Dum, Na. Gamin Wayne, Dum, Na. Yeah. So some of these, yeah. While we're on that, some of these are tricky at first. There, like, because they're some of the way that the words flow and that there's quite like so much different than English at times that it'll be like a simple word like this might be a tongue twister. So that chart from the first pack of papers there, like sometimes it helps going through that pronounce each one to start building your vocal muscles and your tongue there to get around. And then sometimes just practicing these kind of things out loud, and then slowly will, by the end of the time there, like takes a while to build up your ear and your, it's almost like mouth and brain coordination kind of thing there, but the more you stick with it, the smoother that it starts working along there. So, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Even fluent speakers there get tongue twisted every now and then, and advanced learners get caught up in it too. So don't worry about making mistakes. It's always good to just keep giving it a shot there and going with it there. So, I guess we could do another one or two if anyone else wants to give it a try there.
No, for no.
Okay. Say it once more.
Gimeno, for no.
The G would have a hard get sound.
Gimeno, good. Gimeno, for no.
Do one more, or do you want to move on to the next thing?
How do you pronounce the one he writes?
He writes? Alright, I never really got into the glottal stop with these. Let me explain what the glottal stop is. I'll put them on both ones. So, that's the apostrophe thing, I didn't explain it, so that's, known as, yeah, so whenever you see this little marker inside of a word that's signifying a glottal stop, and what a glottal stop is like a kind of sound in the back of your throat there, or some will put an H in there to signify that. So like, oh, it should be, that's exaggerating the sound a bit there, but oh, it should be a gay, should be a gay, should be a gay, the glottal stop there. So that's what's going on with that there. So oh, it should be a gay. If it's tricky at first, just put an H in there and practice it like that. Like, oh, it should be a gay, should be a gay. And then some might even actually pronounce it with an H sound in other certain dialects there, but yeah, that's what's going on with the glottal stop right there. Other common word. So my ingan, I don't know if anyone's familiar with my ingan. Christina.
No, England.
That's the word for wolf there, and it's kind of got some will put like a W or an H sound, like my ingan or my yangan. Some also have the glottal stop, my ingan. So that's what's going on with that. Whenever you see yeah, it's another sound that takes a bit of practice to kind of get it coming out naturally there, but I don't know if anyone wants to practice glottal stuff or just worry about it another time and turn it on.
It's like drum, eh? Like, is it Dewitt Igan or
Yeah. Anyway, again,
Dewitt Igan?
sometimes some don't like Eastern ones. Sometimes it might just be the way gun. In the West, they'll draw it out a bit more like a Dewitt gun. Same with chicken, like baka quang. Use some baka quang there.
There's a question.
Oh, okay.
How do you ask I hear you and we hear you?
How do you ask?
Yeah. How do you ask I hear you and we hear you? They might be getting into VTAs with that one. So do you hear? You could say, do you hear? So that's what you would say that again there? It wouldn't be specifying you, so when you say like that, you're saying like, do I hear? And just the action of hearing. You wouldn't be specifying like what you're hearing. So yeah, what they're asking is kind of a little more advanced, what we're getting to later on there. Like Ganondam na, do you hear? Ganondam na. What's the exact question again though? I'm trying to think of It is. How do you ask I hear you and we hear you?
yeah, that's a little more. I hear you would be Ganon Don or Ganon the Win. No, but that's VTA stuff, so it's yeah, it's pretty far. Like some
Yeah, somebody said on here, Ginondun.
yeah,
Ginondun.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll eventually. Yeah, it's a little advanced for what we're doing today there, but yeah, a little sample of what VTA is. What are we doing for time?
It's 6:13. Or wait, no.
7:30?
That doesn't. That's what that's. Yeah, 7:13. It's
Okay,
an hour behind.
we'll go on to the commands to get you guys ready for next week. Okay, well, they got the papers, okay. Yeah, so we're going to quickly go over the command form from page 3, or within linguistic terms, they call it the imperative. If you ever come across it, that's just command, being a little easier to remember and understand. This came up on Monday briefly. So this came up on Monday. Based on what we went through tonight, can anyone say the difference between, or maybe not the difference right away, but what's going on with this one?
we didn't go over third person too much there. He or she, but everything that doesn't have the name or the in front is third person there.
Namadabin, that's giving a command, right? Like
Yeah.
you're saying, you're telling someone to sit.
Yeah.
Namadabe, is that just like just sit to just sitting, or
Who would be saying
who, like he is sitting? Or?
right? So when you don't have the N here, it's she or he sits, and then when you add the N at the end, you're telling someone. Like it's not explicitly you, but it's implied that I'm talking to you there. Like, so that might have been you. Sit. Doesn't have to be stern like that. That might have been there. Like, oh, that might have been there. They have a seat there. So, right. Improving my handwriting a bit on here. But so again, what would the difference be between recent in and recent in?
What's the name?
Right.
What's the name is telling me eat?
Yeah.
So,
So if you have naughty kids there, you could do it in a more stern voice. Recent in, or if someone, the guest comes over, you could tell them to invite them to the table. Recent in. So often your tone of voice there would imply how heavy of a command it is. Yeah, so I put a whole bunch on here. It all comes with time there. The more you hear it, the more that it starts becoming distinguished from one another. Like sometimes all it is one small letter, hey, that makes the difference in what's going on between these two here. So a lot of that comes with time as to some of the differences that are going on there, and sometimes yeah, it's a little tricky at first there once you. But main reason why I wanted to briefly go over command form is that this is going to be the kind of the primary form we'll be working with on Wednesday there. So since we're already almost near the end of the class there, I'd like to go into that. So I put a little bit on the bottom of page 4, like if you want to read that later. But essentially, it's explaining what we'll be doing with immersion. Some of the stuff that goes on with that. I don't know if anyone's gone through the French immersion system or been in an immersion experience before, but basically what's going on is you're put into an environment where the target language is going to be the only language that you'll be hearing during that time there. So on Wednesday, we'll be just staying within Ojibwe there. This will be a little more. It's not going to be a super difficult one where like you're thrown into a room full of elders speaking rapid fire speech and you're trying to listen to them. So I'll be kind of guiding you along. Be asking you not to use English that day. Might accidentally slip out every now and then, which is no problem there. But we'll try making a conscious effort to stay within the language on the Wednesdays there, and what we'll be doing then is you'll slowly be developing your ear more, where little things like the difference between this and this will slowly become more clear as you start hearing the language more, where you'll be able to pick out Wisane and Wisanin more easily as we progress. A lot of educators and teachers encourage a silent period when we first start this, so you don't have to feel pressured to try talking or getting it out right away. If you just want to listen and observe while you're comfortable there, yeah, don't feel pressured like you have to try communicating there. But I would like to eventually, once you guys start feeling more comfortable, to try, especially on the Wednesdays there, to verbalize and try getting those words out there, because that's always half of the battle, is trying to get it out of here and to here and there. So we'll be working towards that, and that's one of the main goals of doing the immersion on Wednesdays, would be to kind of counterbalance just the brainy kind of stuff there and try getting it slowly coming out and building your hearing abilities and your vocal muscles. And since it's all going to be in the language, there'll be a lot of physical action and use of pictures, and we're going to try having a fun time doing that kind of stuff too there. So, and on Mondays, what I'm hoping to do is everything that we do on Mondays is going to help prepare for the Wednesdays with like the words that we're using, themes and stuff like that. So that's pretty much it for today, unless anyone has any questions, or the floor is open there.
If I was leaving now, walking out the door, could I say, Miigwich, Bama Pai Gigawawaman?
Mama P.
Bama P. Wabaman?
Kawabaman. Kawabaman's easier than the.
Wabaman?
Yeah. Mama P. Kawabaman.
Mama P, Kiko,
Thank you, I will see you later.
Yeah. Very good. Getting it. Kawabaman.
Miigwich, Bama P. Gigawawaman?
Lynn. Lynn. You get in there. The more you do it, the easier it'll slowly start coming out there. So, thank you much for coming out again. I appreciate having these out, and look forward to seeing how Immersion Wednesday goes.
Oh, we got a PD day already on Monday, eh?
Yeah, Thanksgiving. Yeah. So for those online, yeah, we won't be online Monday. Maybe we'll leave a short Thanksgiving video or something, but we'll see. All right, so,
Yeah.
have a good holiday weekend. Yeah, see you all next week.
Yeah. I'll stop by. I'm gonna bring my guy. I'll see you.